Speculation has run rampant when it comes to Brandon Aiyuk and his potential future with the San Francisco 49ers, and we kind of know why. There's a big trigger coming up on April 1st. We've already discussed, but effectively, once Brandon Aiyuk is on the 49ers roster beyond April 1st, the next two seasons are fully guaranteed from a contractual standpoint. So that means that if the 49ers didn't want to pay that and they wanted to get out of this deal, they have until April 1st to do so. So that is why there has been so much speculation. And this dates back to, going all the way to John Lynch and the combine, really not shutting down any potential rumors that they could be trading or shopping Brandon Aiyuk. So there's been a lot of speculation to come along with that. However, we do have Diana Rossini of The Athletic kind of pushing back on this notion that Brandon Aiyuk will be traded by April 1st. This is what she said on her podcast. She said, I don't get the sense that it's a reality. I'm sure the 49ers would like to trade Brandon because of the finances. We'll see what happens with this. I don't expect anything. So, while I'm kind of in the same boat, I do believe that the 49ers are more than willing to trade Brandon Aiyuk. I do think that they are absolutely having those conversations, seeing if anyone would discuss it. But as I discussed in a previous video, the first video I actually made on this all off season, really, I discussed the challenges because you have a player who's suffering an ACL tear. I believe it was an MCL tear as well, along with other damage in his knee. We don't know if he's fully healthy. And again, there might be information behind closed doors based on what doctors are saying, where he is in his rehab and recovery process. But at least from the outside looking in, we have no idea. We don't know what the health states. If he were to have to go pass a physical, he wouldn't be able to do it because he's not healthy. So that is a challenge, in my opinion. From my understanding, I believe teams can waive a physical so they could say, like, yes, we know you're not going to pass it. We're still going to trade for you anyways. So that's an element, the injury element of it. The other element is taking on us basically a 4-year, $110 million contract, along with paying him 2 years guaranteed right out the gate. Unless I would assume he would be willing to restructure that contract, which is then where maybe BA comes in and says, no, I'm not restructuring this contract. If you're going to trade for me, you're trading for my contract as is. And maybe that could be a roadblock in this situation. Or maybe it's all the things. Maybe it's compensation. Maybe the 49ers are realizing that no team is willing to give anything for a player coming off a serious knee injury and then having to pay him immediately, guaranteed for 2 more seasons. That could be the biggest issue because let's say the Cleveland Browns or the Patriots do want Brandon Aiyuk. Both these teams were interested in Brandon Aiyuk prior to the whole saga of the offseason and him potentially getting signed. So there was interest there. Both of them offered contracts. The Patriots offered an insane amount, but BA declined both. So let's say that they are offering to make a trade. What are they sending the 49ers? I talked about this. Because they're taking on the contract, because he's injured, and because the season that he did play before he was injured wasn't the BA that we've come to know, because he had missed all of training camp and it was a slow start. We all know the story. I don't think the 49ers would get anything beyond a 6th round pick. I know a lot of people have thrown out 3rd round pick. They've thrown out 2nd, maybe even a 1st. But again, you have to take into account the contract. If a team is trading for BA, it's the value for the 49ers comes from getting out of the contract. The value doesn't come from trade compensation. It's almost like, just give us a pick, take his contract, and we'll move on with our lives. That's where the value comes along in this situation. So maybe the 49ers are saying, does it make sense? Like, should we take a 6th round pick for BA? Should we take a 7th round pick for BA? Should we take a future? Should we take a pick swap? you know, a 6th round pick swap and Brandon Aiyuk, you know, it's probably not going to look good. So I don't really know. It's a very complicated situation. There's a lot of different elements and angles to this. And I think the fact that he has to be paid by April 1st is a huge kind of that's a hard that's a hard thing to do for a player who isn't fully healthy. I think if BA was fully healthy, maybe these conversations would go further. But for the simple fact that he probably can't pass a physical today means it's a challenge. I'll just say that. Um, and again, what we keep hearing from every insider is, yeah, the 49ers would love to get out of Brandon Knight contract. Sounds like the 49ers have let the entire world know they do not like Brandon Ayuk's contract. Which again, it's an unfortunate set of circumstances considering it was the 49ers who gave it to them. But now they don't like it, and now it sounds like they want to get out of it. But now there are so many issues with having to get out of it that they probably can't. And maybe it would have been something that would be more of a reality if he was healthy. But again, I think that's why these next couple days and again, deadlines move mountains. So I talk about it all the time. A lot of stuff happens in the 95% of something getting done in the NFL, but where everything happens is in that final 5%. Pushing up against a deadline, pushing up against something that needs to happen. That last 5% is where everything gets ironed out and gets worked out. So I do I'm one that I would prefer Brandon Ayuk stays here, gets healthy, and hopefully contributes to a season next year. I think you know, hoping that a healthy Brandon Ayuk paired with Jawan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall and Demarcus Robinson could be a pretty darn good, uh, pretty darn solid wide receiver room. So I am more of the mindset to just keep Brandon Ayuk. Again, it's not my money, so I don't look at it that way, and I think a lot of fans don't really look at it that way. Obviously, that is a huge element to all of this. Clearly, as this offseason has been operated by the San Francisco 49ers. So we all are understanding that this isn't just about on the field. It's also about, in the front office. How do they win on the spreadsheet? So I am preferring Brandon Ayuk stays. I don't think the return is going to be good. I can understand getting out of his contract, but I don't know. Uh, Like I feel like this decision should have been made last year. But again, things change, things evolve, and changes happen. So we'll see what happens from here. But at least as it's standing, according to Diane Rossini, is it doesn't appear that he will be traded. But again, there's still plenty of time. So we'll have to wait and see. What do you think the most likely outcome is? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.